Can you dig it, you sucker?
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, six-time world champ, two-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here, a.k.a. The Boat. Hey, man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, even though, seem like every time we take one small step forward, we take a couple of steps back. And seem like the pandemic, man, it just don't want to let up off of Houston, man. The mayor actually said we're going to be either going back to phase one, or we're going to be shutting the city down in total all over again. And I don't even know what to say about this, man. I'm serious, man. I don't even know what's going on, but man, I hope we get back to normal. Hope somehow this thing get fixed somehow, some way. I hope God intervene and fix this, man, because I don't know how much more I could take, man. I'm serious.
No, I hear you. And it's scary to even hear the governor of Texas say, masks are our last line of defense, or we're going to be shutting everything down again like it was 3-4 months ago. It's still scary. You and I were talking earlier on the phone, just, we know people who are either battling it or succumb to it and all kinds of stuff. And I'm glad, though. It finally seems like everybody's on the mask train now. I feel like we've gotten everybody on the train now. Everyone's like, okay.
Not everyone. I went to get some gas today at Shell, and it's a big bold sign on the door. We're not accepting any customers without masks. And this woman walked right in the door, and I just say, good God, man, some people just don't want to heed to the message. I remember, a few months back when this thing first started. And I don't know if you remember, but the video went viral. It was a bus driver. He said this woman just got on the bus coughing. He said, man, please, y'all need to take this stuff serious. And he was sweating at the time. And 4 days later, he died.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. No.
And it was in that video, it went viral because, you can't imagine that he ever would think in 4 days he would be gone. And that right there definitely made me wake up. And right now they're talking about kids going back to school. I got 9-year-old twins, man. They're getting ready to turn 10 years old next month. And I'd be damned if I'm sending them to school, man. They will not be going to any school while this pandemic is the way it is right now. Because I know one thing, first and foremost, this thing has no boundaries. It don't discriminate between race, age, or anything like that. Yeah. And if they get it, Charmel and I, we're going to get it. If we get it, Mom, she might get it. And the thing is, she might not be as lucky as myself and Charmel. Oh, we might not be that lucky. You never know. So I don't know what the, what the hell they're thinking about as far as just telling our kids to go back to school without even having a plan, without even having any structure as far as how are we going to get this done? And first and foremost, I think this right here, before we can even think about getting our schools open, it's going to have to be a whole lot of money spent on, trying to fix what the guidelines really are, making schools a little bit bigger as far as adding on certain sections and whatnot, making those classrooms a whole lot smaller, man, because I cannot see, I don't think I would be in my right mind. Really, I don't. Sending my kids to school in the middle of a pandemic, especially the way it is right now in Texas.
Yeah, I remember in high school, it was like there were more children, kids in the class than there were desks or textbooks. So I can only imagine how many more people have been added since then. And to think about having classrooms of 40 kids, with this thing going on, coming from all areas of the city, seems to be a little bit crazy. I've talked to some people who are in school, who are in, education. They've been talking about maybe the first 6 weeks of the school year is going to, at least the first 6 weeks of the school year is going to be, remote learning, like the end of the school year was. And then we'll see what happens by that point. By then you're into October. So, we'll see. I'm hoping for the best, but I agree with you it's best to proceed with caution.
Yeah, we're hoping for the best, but NBA trying to get their season started, and we got to, one of our main guys, Westbrook right now, down with COVID-19. Just imagine 3 players get COVID at the same time. What is that going to do to our team or our chances? I mean, is it fair for basketball season to kick off knowing that something like that can and most likely will happen?
Yeah, what's interesting about it is this hasn't been confirmed, and I haven't heard anybody talking about it, but I am, this is just complete rumor on my end and speculation, but Russell wasn't the only one to not travel with the team to Orlando. James Harden didn't travel with them, and neither did Luke Bahamute. I'm thinking that they all 3 have it, and we just haven't heard yet, which is huge, right? And I think that's why they didn't travel to Orlando, because that's where everybody in the NBA is right now. I know they have their protocols, and you're not going to do anything completely safe, right? The UFC has figured it out for the most part. They've done a good job, and I got to commend them. And we'll talk about Fight Island, I'm sure, here in a little bit. But they've done a good job of it. But you're right. One player, like I heard, I don't know which player it was, but there's a boundary that they can't cross in the bubble, and he crossed it today to get some food because he had some food delivered. And now he's in an immediate automatic 10-day quarantine, isolation, can't come out of his room, can't do anything like that. So they're taking it as seriously as possible, but someone's going to get it. Something's going to happen. I'm glad to hear that Russ, though, is not feeling terrible or anything like that. He says he's feeling okay, but still scary.
Yeah, I was listening to the mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottom. She said she got it. Her husband got it. And she said her husband lost 20 pounds in 1 week.
Whoa. Wow. Yeah.
20, can you imagine? I mean, I'm 224 pounds. I can't imagine losing 20 pounds, and I'm under 200 pounds in 1 week. That right there would definitely be shocking. It would be chilling. I would be definitely wondering what the hell's going on, because you're in a situation where almost no one can really help you once you hit that down slide. Seemed like once this corona really, really hit, seemed like it catches, it grabs on and it holds on tight. One of our, comrades, Rusev, formerly known as Rusev, he tested positive for the coronavirus. Hopefully he get well soon.
And not just Rusev, his wife, Lana, her mother and father both tested positive as well. And I know her mom was in ICU, but thankfully she's been moved out of the ICU. But I mean, scary, man. Everyone, it used to be like when you heard about it, it was like, oh, wow, like, so-and-so and so-and-so has it. Like there was like 7 degrees of separation. Now it's like an immediate degree. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everyone knows somebody who's gotten it personally.
Yeah, but I'm still wondering, man, like you say, the mask thing is kind of kicked up a little bit, but I'm still wondering, do people, really realize how serious this thing really is? I just hope if they don't, man, they do get on the bandwagon, because this is something that, we can fix it. I know we can, but everybody got to be on the same page as far as this thing goes. And I don't think this virus is going to, fix itself. It's not going to, disappear. You know what I mean? It's pretty hot outside right now, and it hadn't disappeared yet. You know what I mean? So one of the boxers last week, I was looking at boxing is back on television right now on ESPN, and one of the boxers, his coach, they were in Vegas actually. One of the boxers' co-main event, his coach was his father. Actually went down to the casino, broke protocol, and they kicked him out of the hotel, and he wasn't able to corner his son. And his son literally, man, he had a breakdown. He was literally crying. Okay, he couldn't even do an interview because they had kicked his dad out. He ended up going on and winning the fight in grand fashion, but still, man, little bitty stuff like that, man. The whole world is different right now. I was looking at it in China, how they're trying to go back to school and everybody's in a little box, in class, So I remember 9/11 back in the day. As soon as that happened, our lives were changed, as well, going to the airports, the screening, everything changed, 9/11. And now we're going to remember, the beginning of 2020 for this reason, this coronavirus. So many of us is going to remember 2020, beginning of 2020, man, that year, man. I mean, everything just stopped, the year that everything stopped, So, like I say, man, hopefully we can all get on the same page, man. like I say, beat this thing. Yeah.
And let's shut down the water parks while we're at it. Can we do that? Because I saw there's a water park here. It's like, was it Tycoon something or another? I don't know the name of it. There's a water park here in Houston or greater Houston area. And there was videos coming out I saw on Twitter of like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people going to this water park. And I'm just like, guys, I get it's the summertime, but get it popping with an inflatable pool and a slip and slide in the backyard. That's all they got at a water park anyway. You know what I mean?
Still bigger.
Yeah, just a little bigger. You know what I mean? Get your ass out the lazy river.
Oh, man.
Put a chair in the backyard and get it popping that way.
I swear, man. I swear, man. It's crazy, man. Everybody want to get out and party, man. Everybody want to barbecue. Everybody want to, life to go back and return to the way it was, man. And trust me, no doubt, I'm one of those people, man. I cannot wait till things return because, like I said, I can't wait to I'm missing the fight game. Like, I got an itch, you know what I mean? I'm feeding, man. I'm feeding. But, guys, stick around. We got a whole lot to talk about. You're in the Hall of Fame. Back in a minute.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. Hey, man, before we even move any further, man, Great American Bash went down last week, and I must congratulate Keith Lee, the new NXT, as well as the North American champion. Man, his trainer just passed away a couple of weeks ago, Killer Tim Brooks, a guy that I got a chance to mix it up with, a guy that taught me so much, just from getting in the ring and working with him just one time. I can only imagine how Keith Lee feels right now, man. Crashing that glass ceiling, man, is something every one of us, hope to do in this business is be looked at as the elite, as literally the upperclassmen in the business. And this guy, Keith Lee, he's one of those guys you look at him and say, man, what this guy's, man, he's good. Then you look at him and go, wow, this guy's really good. He's special in so many different ways, and a lot of it, understandably, guys, you got to really understand this. A lot of it don't have anything to do with his talent in the ring. That's what makes the literally the true champion, the guy that literally plays it on both sides of the field, offense and defense. Keith Lee is that type of guy that goes out and plays in the ring as well as out of the ring. If you hear this guy talk, you think he was a scholar or something like that. He is so well-mannered. He is so intelligent. And for him to actually, go out there and make you think that he's a beast, you know what I mean? It's something that's unique, something uncanny. So I give Keith Lee, the highest praise, man, the highest props for going out there and doing that in NXT. And then I'm sure he's going to move on to the main roster, and this guy's going to do big things. I've been waiting on Keith Lee. I've been waiting on a guy like this to come around and for me as a black man to say, man, the brother's doing it. He's doing it big. So again, Keith Lee, the North American, as well as the new NXT champion, man. Big ups, brother. Big ups.
Yeah, I was reading about Keith a little bit because we had him down at Reality Wrestling. I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. I remember he worked Gino in a great match.
Oh man!
And I even remember talking to him then, and I think he was saying, "Yeah, I'm going to get a tryout here soon. Hopefully, it all pans out." And he had I think 2 tryouts prior to that, like in 2008, in 2011 or 12, and it's 2020. That's it. That's 12 years from his first WWE tryout to finally be holding up that NXT championship, which says, and that brand specifically on Wednesday nights, you're the guy, right? It just, to me, it shows never giving up, believing in yourself, hard work, dedication, all those cliche terms that you hear, they really pay off. They really do. I was just reading this story about a garbage man who worked, 4 a.m. every day, and he just got into Harvard University, trying his best, and he just got accepted. That's hard work. Keith Lee is about hard work, and you can tell from just, I remember sitting in that production meeting at Reality Wrestling with you, and you were giving him game, and he was absorbing it. He wasn't letting it go one year out the other. He wasn't like, oh, here's an old timer trying to tell me how to work again. He was like, let me listen to this man. And he absorbed it. And I'm sure down in NXT, he's listened to all the coaches down there from Triple H to Matt Bloom to whomever, and he's absorbed that information. That's why he is where he is today. And I remember at the Survivor Series a couple years ago when he had that interaction with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And he didn't look out of place. To me, that's the biggest test when you're against the biggest star in the company.
Or with Brock Lesnar.
Or with Brock, and he doesn't look out of place.
Yeah,
he looks like he belongs there.
Yeah.
And I was so excited to see Keith Lee get it. I mean, he's a Texas boy, obviously. I'm always rooting for that. But he deserves it more than anything. He earned it.
You just said something a second ago as far as, he learned under, this guy and that guy. But, he really, truly couldn't have learned under a better guy than Killer Tim Brooks, man.
Right.
The dirty white boy, man. They didn't call him that for nothing, man. He was definitely old school. You would think he was the gimmick. You would think he was the person that he was playing inside the square circle, and that's what true wrestlers are, man. They find that blueprint and what they're supposed to go out there and do, and then they become that. It literally they embody it. That's what a lot of wrestlers I think have a lot of problems with. Is I was talking about John Cena just last week as far as how this guy would go out and really take control of the situation and what was going on out there, and it's very, very small. The fans watching it, they don't. A lot of times they may not understand it, but they feel it.
Right.
And then at the end of the match, they're going crazy. John Cena, you felt a certain way about him at the beginning of the match, then you felt at the end of the match. That right there is a person that's going out there and putting in a lot of work, something similar to the same guy, man. So putting in the work is the only way you're really going to make it to that next level and really be able to hold on to it, because you know how good you are. When you get to that point and you know how good you are. And right now, when I watch Keith Lee go out and perform, man, I'm gonna tell you that match with Adam Cole. What I notice about the big man is, as I always teach big men, man, you got to know how to go out there and take yourself out of the game sometimes. And he is the best at going out there and putting himself in position to put himself out of position to make that guy that he's working with look so good. If you want to know what that means, put yourself in position to put yourself out of position. Just join my class, guys. Every Thursday night, just go to realityofwrestling.com and sign up, and I'll teach you all about the inner workings of professional wrestling. I just had to get that plug in.
Oh, I loved it. What do you think it means for Adam Cole? Does this mean that we're going to see Adam Cole maybe move on to the main roster? Does he stay in NXT? Because he's been there now some years.
He's been there a couple of years now.
Maybe three?
No, maybe two years. I remember, like I say, on the independent scene a couple of years ago, I was talking to him about this moment. Nah, man, me personally, if I had the the book, if I had the pen, Adam Cole would stay in NXT a little while longer. Not saying that he's not ready to go to the main roster or anything like that. Not saying that he's going to get lost in the shuffle or anything like that. But I just think just a little bit more time in NXT will only serve him, a little bit better. I don't think it's going to hurt him at all staying in NXT a little bit longer. As well as, those guys, they need guys like Adam Cole in that system to actually, as young as Adam Cole is, as short a time he's been in the WWE, and this guy, man, he's really a student of the game, and he could teach those guys down there in that system so much. I heard somebody else say it, and I agree with him. I say, if Adam Cole was 6'3" tall, he'll be the Universal Champion right now. That's how good this kid is. He really is that good. And not, to blow Shawn Michaels' horn or anything like that. But this kid, he seemed like that next level Shawn Michaels type guy that can go out there and be that Mr. WrestleMania, so and of course I know it's a different era now than it was back then. But I really look at Adam Cole and I say, man, this guy is really very talented. And me, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't say that about a whole lot of guys.
No, I mean, I know you don't pass that praise around a lot. I think it was Road Dogg who said that comment about if he was 6'3", he'd be the Universal Champion now. But do you think that's gonna hinder him, like the size thing? Because he's not a super tall dude. He's probably like what 5'8", 5'9". They might bill him at 5'11" or something like that. But he's a shorter guy.
You know why I don't think it will hinder him is because of just last week what he went out there and showed. With Keith Lee, he's a guy that's a small guy like Shawn Michaels, who, Shawn Michaels wasn't a big guy as well, but Shawn Michaels worked like he was 6'3". Adam Cole works like he's 6'3". And when you look at Adam Cole, only thing you see in that box like we're in right now is star. And that right there, let's go make this money, baby.
No, I totally agree with you. And I think that I would like to see this, feud continue. You know what I mean? I mean, him and Keith Lee could have a series of classic matches.
Yeah.
And winner take all. Maybe, I don't know. They can do a multitude of things. And I think it was big. And then here's the other thing is so many people were interested to see if Keith Lee was going to get the job done on Wednesday night. NXT for the third week in a row. They beat AEW in the ratings. They're on a roll now. And I think that's a stamp of approval on Keith Lee to bring the win home for Team NXT as well.
Well, I'll tell you, to be in that position, it was a hell of a spot to be in. The build up to that match, winner take all, champion versus champion. We just had, the greatest wrestling match ever. And then these two guys go out here, champion versus champion, and then go out there and prove how good they really are. And that right there, it told me a whole lot about Keith Lee, told me a whole lot about Adam Cole. It told me a whole lot about NXT as far as what they're bringing to the table right now. And that's just some, we're in a pandemic era. And for the numbers to go up, it tells you that people are interested in watching these guys go out there and perform, go out there and wrestle, grapple. And that's what we got a chance to see between those two guys. And I'm going to tell you, man, I have not seen a better match than that match on television. I'm serious, in quite some time. That match right there literally may be a candidate for match of the year as far as I'm concerned. I give those guys huge, huge props. That's coming from, multi-time champion, a guy that's done it all and seen it all. He's one of the greatest of all time. But guys, stick around. We got a whole lot more for you. Back in a minute.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Hey, we're definitely going to be talking about some UFC 251 here and the debacle and what the shenanigans that went on. Oh, yeah, it's Island. But before we get there, man, Extreme Rules is going to be on this weekend. Horror show at Extreme Rules going to be going down this Sunday. So, guys, tune in. Got the WWE Network. If you don't, sign up. I'm sure it's going to be free that first month. After that, it's free 99 or something like that.
Free for a while. There's a free version of the WWE Network out there now, like where it's completely free. I think you got to pay the $9.99 for the pay-per-view.
$9.99, man. $9.99. I mean, you can't beat that.
That's better than the $75 you got to pay for the UFC shows. I mean,
I didn't get the HD. I just got the regular.
Give me the square box.
Mine was like $60.
Everything's a little green.
I'm still gonna see the blood and the knockouts.
That's all I care about.
That's the only thing I care about. But Extreme Rules guys are going down this weekend. Myself, along with Renee Young and JBL, we're going to be doing our take as far as who's going to be taking in, who's going to be taking out, who's going to be going in, who's going to be going over. I cannot wait. It's going to be on like neck bone. So, hey, tune in with me.
Do you know how Renee's doing? Is she doing okay?
She's fully recovered, man. She says she's 100%. She's good to go. And, like I say, sometimes this thing, you feel one way. Sometimes you feel something totally different. So, but she's over it. Man, I'm glad she's over it because I tell you, it's got to be scary. It's got to be scary. I heard she was having, when she noticed it in the beginning, she was having tightness in the chest. And that seemed like the common symptom, tightness in the chest. But she's back to normal, and hopefully we'll have a great show on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the horror show at Extreme Rules. I just want to see if that swamp match goes off the way that you described it. Because if they do what you said, I'm excited. You know what I mean? I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm excited if the ring is, I can't get that visual out of my head. The ring over the swamp. That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm serious, man. I used to watch a lot of those old movies, when the Gill Man would come out. I don't know, you might not know about the
Gill Man. I don't know. It's just a nickname my girlfriend has for me, but aside from that, I don't know.
I'm serious, man. They can do something like that, man. You go all the way there. I can go hear a bunch of that in the background, So I'm serious. I mean, it could really turn out to be. I mean, just that, and then over the swamp, they're gonna have a drone camera. You know what I mean?
Oh, I did.
Alligators. Big snapping turtles. You might even actually see a glimpse of the Gill Man. You never know. I wish they let me set this up. I heard Bruce Pritchard, man, he's got his hands full right now. According to Conrad Thompson, that Bruce Pritchard right now he's stressed, he's overworked, he's tired. He got his hands full. He's got a full plate, and I'm sure he does, man. So, brother, if you need some help on just that one match, give me a call. I'll set it up for you.
That way, if Booker does help out, we will see the Gill Man.
There he is, the Gill
Man. There you go.
That's the Gill Man right there, man. I used to love that movie right there, man. You couldn't kill him, man. You shoot him, you think he's dead. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, the Gill Man come back. They never at the end of the movie. They didn't. If you go back and watch this movie, it's such a good movie, man. It's such a good movie. It's
the Gill Man.
I don't know if that's the name of it, but I know that's what he was. You know what I mean?
Gill Man monster. That's what they say.
Gill Man monster. Yeah, I'm serious, man. I'm serious. Go back and watch that, man. I mean, it probably came out in the '60s, but it's pretty funny. It's comical, but it's definitely before its time as far as scary movies go. It's pretty good.
Real quick, we had a comment. Luke Hodgson says, "If you read this, I'll shave my head." So break out the clippers, Luke. Throw that out there. No, I'm excited. So, other than the swamp match, I mean, on a 1 to 10, how excited are you for this eye for an eye thing?
I mean,
I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. I mean, no one's seen it, but people are like, I don't know if I want to see an eye for an eye match.
You know what, man? It's according to how we do this thing. I've been hearing about a lot of cinematic stuff, a lot of CGI stuff that could actually, come into play. And if that could actually happen, come on, just think about it. You seen the movie, the latest Rambo movie, right?
Yeah, Last Blood.
Yeah, Last Blood was crazy, but go to the one before that.
Okay, Rambo.
When he was in the jungle, he had to help the mercenaries go and save the. Yeah, that one right there.
Yeah.
And do you remember the gore?
Oh
man, I mean, do you remember the scene at the end where Rambo caught the guy coming around the tree and boom, he put the knife in him, and then when he cut him, he cut his whole body almost in half.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine. Now this is we got plenty of time to do this. I mean, this is WWE. WWE. I mean, the Marine 1, the Marine 2. I mean, we're up to what? The Marine 8.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of movies. Kane's movie, they've done a lot of movies. So the one with Halle Berry in it, they've done a lot of movies. So it's not, a stretch, beyond the imagination that they can't go out here and do something like this and really make it look like an eye for an eye. Man, can you see that? Can you come on? Can you feel where I'm going here?
No, I dig it. I can dig it, but I just don't know. Do you think that would play like a Rambo style gory match?
Look, no, it's not. It's not the match. It's just that one scene.
Yeah.
All it is one scene. The match is just a match. The match is going to be, no different than any other match. But that one scene is the coup d'etat. That one scene is the finish, the grand finale of what we're trying to get at here. And for that one scene to be, and look here. I don't know if it's cinematic or not. I just know the guy's eyes gone.
That's all we know.
Okay, I don't want to know how they did it. It's what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying here? I got to be able to, fall into the role in order to be able to capture it properly. And so this right here, it's like I always say, man, when I go and watch a movie, say for instance, it's Triple X or Fast and the Furious, and the car hit the thing and turned and flipped 3 times and then hit and then keep driving. It's a movie.
Yes,
that can happen in a movie.
Right.
So, when I look at something like this, the eye for an eye match, that's the way I would have to set myself up to actually watch it in order for me to actually get the proper payoff that I'm looking for. Do that make any sense?
No. I hear you. The thing about it, this kind of stipulation though, and the finish of this match is if it's only going to be one or two things. It's either going to be great or it's going to suck, right? Like it's either going to be the greatest, like one of the great finishes that we can remember, or it just doesn't translate. It's going to be one of those. It's a very thin, it's a razor's edge that they're walking on with this thing. But I think cinematic's the only choice. I got to see it. It's going to be, I guarantee you this though, it's going to be the most talked about thing from Extreme Rules. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's going to be the most talked about subject. When we're doing this a week from now, we're going to be like, man, that was awesome. Or I don't know if they, hit the mark on that one.
Yeah, that's what I said. Bring in Spielberg.
Do it.
You know what I mean? Who did Ghostbusters?
Who did go? Ivan Reitman.
Yeah, to bring him in. You know what I mean? We need somebody like that. You know what I mean? To be able to pull the special effects deal off, because the thing is, it can be done, and for WWE to actually be able to pull it off. And then for the fans, the critic, the pundits, all the internet, journalists to be talking about it the week after, saying one thing or the other, that's going to be, that's what we're looking for. Which is it going to be? Are they going to be saying, man, this was awesome? Or, oh, man, I don't know about that. Well, that's the question right there. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, between that, and then you have this is the one I do like. I know we're almost taking a break, but I like how Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, the stipulation won't be revealed until right before the match. I like that from Dolph. It's Dolph Ziggler gets to pick the stipulation. He doesn't reveal it till right before the match. I'm thinking they're going to ban the Claymore. That's going to be the stipulation, something like that. If you use the Claymore, you lose the title or something like that.
Man, that's a really good stipulation point right there. That's one you putting yourself against the wall. You putting yourself in a corner, because just for instance, man, I mean, that stipulation, and the thing is, you got to abide by the stipulation.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. This could be a work, so to speak.
Well, I think it is.
What I'm saying is Drew could be working himself into a corner. That's what I'm saying, man.
Oh, okay.
All right. But like I said, I know we got to take a quick break here, man. Guys, we're going to be talking about Evolution 2. Getting ready to take place after SummerSlam. Can't wait for the ladies to get back in the square circle and do it up just one more time. Hey, guys, stick around. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, man. Hey, what do you guys think about Evolution two. The ladies, get ready to strap them up just one more time. Do it like they do it, and they only do it oh so well. The ladies in WWE have raised the bar as far as the wrestling game goes. I thought it should have been an Evolution 2 quite some time ago. I really was pushing a high opponent of the Evolution pay-per-view as far as the women going out there and having their night to do their thing and shine. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's overdue or anything like that. Maybe it is, but we got it. We're going to have it. That's the only thing that really matters. The question is, which one of the ladies is going to rise up out of the ashes and shine at Evolution? That's the question right there. It's a lot of ladies right now in WWE that's looking to get the rub, so to speak, looking to get, their time, their spot in the sun. And trust me, it's only so many spots. Okay, that's just the way it is. There's only so many spots. You got to be a little bit different than everybody else to set yourself apart in this business. So I'm wondering, which one of the ladies are going to go out there and do it. We know Becky Lynch is out. She's not going to be a part of the festivities or anything like that. Now, one of my favorite, Ember Moon. She's not going to be a part of the extravaganza. Right now, you wonder. We know we got Charlotte Flair. We know we got Bailey. We know we got Sasha. We know we got those three right there as far as women that's going to go out there and shine. But outside of those three women, who do you think have a really good chance at putting themselves in position to actually come up in WWE? In this pay-per-view. Which one? Who do you think?
I got an idea. There is someone who comes to mind when I think, okay, if they do an Evolution 2, because the rumors are going to do Evolution 2 after SummerSlam, right? I'm thinking, how could you make this a can't miss show, like an Impact show? We got to see it. 2 words, man. Tessa Blanchard. Sounds like a good time to bring her in. You know what I mean? Big marquee Evolution 2. Tessa Blanchard WWE debut. Maybe for the title, maybe it was Tessa versus Bailey, Tessa versus Charlotte, something like that. I don't know. Tessa versus Asuka. Any of those matches I'm in for. And I think that could be how you get a buzz. Because you got to remember Evolution 2. Evolution was headlined by Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella. There was a lot of outside interest in seeing that matchup. You had Ronda bringing in some MMA fans. You had Nikki bringing in the reality show fans. All that stuff. Tessa, I don't know. I don't know if she'd bring in casual fans, but it would make me more interested in seeing the show and to see Tessa Blanchard's debut in the second all women's pay-per-view.
It's a great idea. Definitely be a great time for her to, make a huge splash, huge bang, stepping into WWE in a pay-per-view like that, where it's the women's night to shine, and then all of a sudden, just like, out of nowhere, Tessa Blanchard, she signed the contract. She's in the ring and she's whooping somebody's ass. Me personally, I think I would love to see that. And then there again, the matchup. But also, you got a lot of ladies right now that still, that's had a little bit of taste of, the spotlight, but hadn't really gotten a chance to shine. And trust me, I know it's for certain reasons. One person come to mind is Mandy Rose.
Yeah.
Mandy Rose, man, it seemed like she's got all the talent in the world. It seemed like she can, put herself in that position to be one of those, the 5. Let's call them the 5. Right. And literally do something. But what is it about Mandy you think she's missing? What is it? What do you think the one intangible, she's missing? Because she's a beautiful girl. She's put the work in. And tough enough to actually, try to, get into this business, and then got into it and excelled also. But it still seems like it's something, missing as far as Mandy goes.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I think, and I know this is going to be blasphemous for some fans out there, I think that if she didn't do the whole Otis thing, we would be on a better path for her to make it to the top. I get the Otis thing was everyone loves it. They think it's a funny, Beauty and the Beast type thing or whatever. I think that it's kind of taken away from her ascension as a single star, because prior to this Otis thing, she was a heel. She was, I'm coming out. I'm gonna be the good-looking girl, who gets whatever I want and I'm gonna use my looks to my advantage. I mean, that was kind of her gimmick in a lot of ways, right? And I thought it was working as far as making her hateable and making her one of those heels that you could put her in a program for the title and make a run for it, right? And I think this Otis thing veered her off the path. And then because Otis was so lovable, well, now Mandy's lovable. And now Mandy's with Otis. Now she's in the jeans and the jacket with Otis. She's down home Mandy now. She's not, the golden goddess Mandy Rose or what have you. So I think that that's kind of put her off to a sidetrack. But once they finish that story up, wash her hands of Otis, break up with him, do whatever she's got to do, cost him his money in the bank, get that heel heat back. And then we're off to the races again, I think, as far as Mandy Rose. Because I'm with you. I think she's got everything. Look, talent, charisma, ability, inside the ring, promo ability, on the mic. She's got it all. I think this Otis thing has just put her on a detour.
That may have slowed everything down for her, as far as her trajectory, as far as the work side, going out there, the performance side, really getting off into, what does the playbook actually mean? I kind of aligned her, and compare her to Trish Stratus. Trish was, not just a beautiful girl. Okay. She had all of that part, sewed up. But the other side, Trish Stratus, she did not mind going out and getting into a fight. She did not mind, stepping up her wrestling game, her performance game. And that's what I remember about Trish more than her beauty. And I think that's where we're going to have to see a little bit more Mandy Rose. Of course, she's beautiful. That part is going to always be there. But she's going to have to show the world how good of a performer she is. And I compare a lot the women to Charlotte Flair, because Charlotte, she looks good. She looks great. But when she goes out and performs, she makes you believe that it's a real contest going on. I think that's what Mandy perhaps needs to study more and literally align herself more with, because like I say, on the one side, she's always going to be that. But, in this game, I always tell my students, you don't actually have to know how to do it, but you have to act like you know how to do it and act like you know how to do it very, very well. So therefore, you're going to have to train yourself. You're going to have to study a whole lot more. And I think, maybe taking the selfies and the pics all the time, the post-its, maybe that might be a little bit distracting as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I'm sure it's distracting a lot of people. But I hear you too. I hear you. And I think that Mandy's done a great job with it, right? Because she came into Tough Enough, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, didn't have any real experience at all, and was able to she didn't even win the contest. That's what we think. She didn't win the contest. I think Sarah Lee or something like that, or Sarah something won the contest.
Sarah Lee, yeah.
Sarah Lee, okay. I was thinking,
she ended up getting pregnant, down there in down there in PC, and they shipped her on.
That was it. But Mandy's come such a long way. I think that she's a player. Also, when you talk about outside of the Sasha, Bailey, Becky, Charlotte, what have you, Alexa's another one who I think is real good. Alexa Bliss is real good.
Well, I mean, Alexa, for a minute she had the rocket on her, and then all of a sudden she cooled off a whole lot there.
She took a lot of time off.
Yeah, you got to wonder. One thing about it too, man, you get injuries in this business, you become expendable, so to speak. It's hard to go to the guy that get injured a whole lot, and I understand that, but I'm not saying that she's injury prone or anything like that. Another one was Shayna Baszler. Shayna was getting the rub there for a second. Seemed like she was going to get the big push, and then all of a sudden, we're not hearing a whole lot about Shayna Baszler. Another one, Bianca Belair, man. There's a whole lot of talk about Bianca Belair and when she's going to come up. And, I've watched a lot of her stuff, and she seems like she's one that could actually grasp the concept of the performance side and going out there and really performing. But I say it all the time, man. This game, man, a lot of times it's on the job training. It's about going out there and, taking your bumps and bruises, picking yourself up, having someone like, for myself, a killer Tim Brooks, to go out there and show you, hey, kid, this is the way you're supposed to do it. A lot of times it's going to be that someone like these younger talent, like a Mandy Rose, getting in there, performing with someone like a Sasha Banks and learning, what the game is all about, or Charlotte Flair, learning what the game is all about. But guys, stick around. We've got a whole lot more for you. UFC talk coming up. Back in a minute.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. We just doing it, just getting ready to talk about a little UFC.
Before we talk about UFC, can I get your reaction to one thing real quick?
Yeah.
Over the weekend, there's always memes going around, always a meme. And a lot of wrestling fans were debating over the weekend who had the better frog splash. Was it Eddie Guerrero or was it Rob Van Dam? And this was the little thing that was going around. And if you notice, the frog splash is being delivered to the same person in both frames. I don't know if you picked up on that.
No, I didn't, man. I didn't think about that at all.
It's you.
That's a rib, man. That's a rib.
Getting frog splashed on, in both frames. So I ask you, being the subject of the photograph, who had the better frog splash?
Well, if you look, come on, let's look at it right here. And if you're looking at something from a technical perspective, okay, me personally, I like cliff diving. I like Olympic diving, and normally when you watch Olympic divers, you watch the form and the technique and see if they're keeping everything, more importantly, tight when you're doing that. And you watch RVD right here, everything is pretty much just wide open. Nothing's tight. The feet aren't close together or anything. The arms are flailing all over the place. And then you look at Eddie. Eddie is in perfect, almost perfect form. I would give him an 8.5, as far as his dismount here. But when the more important part is the landing. You look at RVD and his position of the landing, it's nothing but weight coming down on you right there. But you look at Eddie and you look at the posture and him getting ready to place himself in the perfect position where it's going to feel like a feather landing on you compared to a sack of potatoes like RVD. So I would pick Eddie Guerrero as far as we had the best frog splash.
Well, there you go. You heard it from the 5-time champion. So I had to get your reaction to that. And also, we just had a big super chat coming in from our guy, Joe Compton, $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
He said, hey, Booker T, I'm a soldier at Fort Bliss. When will you think we'll see more of Jessamine Duke? I figured that they would have put her with Shayna Baszler. What is your reaction to that?
Man, that's the thing. It's so much young talent down there. You wonder when they're going to come up, when they're going to get the rub, and it's hard to say. It's hard to say because there again, Shayna Baszler was the top dog in NXT, get her shot in WWE on the main roster there. Then all of a sudden, everything just stopped. So it's hard to say when these young talent is going to come up. But what I do think is a pay-per-view like Evolution will give that young talent a chance to shine. And the reason I say that is because, Jessamine Duke, you say, you put her in a room with 20 other female wrestlers. They all got to get in the ring and perform. If she's good enough, she's going to be noticed. And I say that because Cream always just seemed to rise to the top. You actually cannot stop that from happening. So it's going to take a situation like that as far as putting her in that situation where she has no choice but to either, come up or wash out. It's just that simple. That's the way I see it. What do you think, Brad?
No, I mean, I agree. I think Jessamine Duke and Shayna Baszler, obviously on paper, it makes sense given Jessamyn's UFC background
Yeah.
and one of the 4 horse women of MMA at one point with her and Ronda. But again, it's just that it's one. Here's the thing that you all said, and I think why Evolution 2 makes a good is a good pick, because it's all about timing. It's the right time to do things, and it hasn't been Jessamyn's time yet to make that ascension through NXT. And I think that they also got to figure out, are we going to want multiple MMA style people that we're pushing at the same time, right? I mean, everyone's going to have their turn. And unfortunately, sometimes when you have too many similarities with another talent who's already on the rise, they're going to say, oh, well, they remind me too much of so-and-so. We have to refigure this out, or we'll put her on the back burner for now until it's time. So I think for Jessamyn, it's all about timing right now. And whenever that time is, we're going to see a Shayna Baszler match. Maybe Jessamyn and Shayna will convince Ronda to come back, and we'll get something at Evolution or somewhere down the road. But it's all about timing.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this right here, and I'm gonna just, I'm just keeping it real as far as the talent goes, as far as being able to stand out and put yourself out there. So these women, a lot of these guys, they got plenty of time on television to go out there and put themselves over and make themselves look good. And I say that because you got a guy like Adam Cole who just stepped into the spot, and not that he just stepped into the spot, he stepped into it and he said, man, I'm gonna take the spot. I'm gonna show everybody here how good Adam Cole really is. And this guy has literally outshined so many talent on that roster that's been there for quite some time. And I'm talking about, not to knock these guys or anything like that, but Ricochet, he was there before, Finn Balor, he was there, before Adam Cole. But the one guy I seem to feel that has, that star quality and that star power to go out there and move some numbers right now is Adam Cole. And so I say, don't think that these guys haven't had a chance to go out there and put themselves on the map. It's what they do inside the ring when they got that time. When you got, 5, 10, 12, 15 minutes on television, that is your time to go out there and show the world how good you really are. And if you're not that good, it's going to show. If you see that you need to study more to actually get to that point, because that's what I don't see a whole lot of is, these young talents studying. How do I get to the next level? How do I make it to main event status? How do I get to that point to where I'm mid-card and above? How do I get to the point to where I know I'm not going to be working if I get to the main roster on Superstars? It's that kind of stuff right there. And if you're not plotting and planning to find your way to that position, you always are just going to be a worker in this game. Try to rise above just being a worker. You want to be the best performer inside that locker room each and every night.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna defer to you on that, but you're right, it's knowing, because you said when you broke in, right, you looked at guys like Ric Flair, or you looked at guys who were working at the main event scene, and you're like, what are they doing right now? Why are these guys at this position? What can I do to get to that position? Oh, I see how he does this. Or I like that move. Oh, look at him play to the crowd. You always give the Ricky Morton example of being a great baby face by just reaching out to the crowd and saying, help me, right? Those small little things.
Yeah.
And studying that craft and then applying it to your own and knowing how to implement it into your game to get you to the main event scene. I think that's great advice.
No, man. I mean, I didn't just get into it. And, like I said, when I slipped on the banana peel and won the television championship because Rick Martel forgot his boots, they thought it was just going to be a weekly, deal for me. And I would, turn it over sooner or later. In my mind, I was like, man, I'm going to show the world how good I really am. So the thought is going to have to come to someone's mind, when they say, hey, man, what should we do with the title? Well, maybe we should just keep it where it is right now. You got to make them think a certain way about you. And a lot of that comes with your performance, how good you go out there and perform and bring it in. And that's what I stress to a lot of the young talent to think about when they're going out and doing this, because anybody, I wouldn't say anybody, but a lot of guys can work. There's a lot of great workers out there, but to perform at that next level, man, I tell you, it's something, It's a high that you cannot go and buy anywhere. It's something that makes you feel like you're on top of a cloud doing it. So guys, concentrate, think about it when you're going out there and trying to find that next level. Like I say, guys, we got to talk about UFC 251 went down this weekend from Yas Island. We got to talk about Yas Island,
baby.
Yas Island, the Fight Island, man. I tell you, man, it was old. It was old. I was wishing I was there. Guys, stick around. We will be back in a minute.
The Academy, the Academy, the Academy, the Academy, the Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. Talking about some UFC went down this weekend from Fight Island, live from Yas Island. I like that name too, Yas. Yeah, but Yazzie. But it seemed like
Fight Island sounds like
it seemed like a cool place to be, man. It seemed like a fun deal to be a part of, especially that was historic, man, for something like that to actually go off with these guys pretty much to put together and built an arena right there, in the desert, So I'm like, no, I'm serious. That's pretty much what it is, and to be able to pull it off and make it look the way they made it look, I was highly impressed with what the UFC has pulled off. It seemed like the atmosphere, it didn't have a lot of fans in it, but it seemed like it had a lot of people in it, acting like they was working. Even if they were, they might have been fans just acting like they were working.
Haters.
Yeah, I'm serious, man. But I tell you, the fights did not disappoint. I'm talking about from the preliminary matches all the way to the main event. They did not disappoint. I don't think one fight really probably disappointed a lot of people, and that was Paige Van Zandt versus Ribas.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that fight was pretty much a setup for, just to make Paige Van Zandt look bad on her way out. My thing is this. I don't know if it was a setup to make her look bad on her way out, but my thing is, if you're on your way out, in the business, you're supposed to do a job for somebody. Put somebody over on your way out.
Right.
That's the way the
AOB.
That's the way the business is, man. The business is you put somebody over on your way out. You know what I mean? So
well, she definitely did. And she put her over in grand. I don't know if it was a setup, but here's the thing. Paige, we knew, had been on a decline, right? I mean, she was, again, a star in the early phases of the women's movement, you could say, in MMA, kind of following the similar path, not the same path, but a similar path as Ronda Rousey, in that she came in, she had a lot of hype behind her.
Not like Ronda, though. Not like Ronda. Let's not use that as an example.
Well, I'm just saying she was in the early phase. She was able to be successful in the early phase of women's MMA and the UFC. That's my point. She didn't have the hype like Ronda did, but that was my point. She was successful early on. And then when the caliber of fighters seemed to have grown a little exponentially every year, you start to see higher quality fighters. And then she had that Michelle Watterson fight. And to me, that's where it all changed for Paige. She was never the same after that Michelle Watterson, that Karate Hottie fight. She came back and she fought Rachel Ostovich. She won that one. Okay. But I don't think that her talent is and I don't want to hate on her, but I'm just saying I don't think her talent is a UFC caliber fighter anymore. I think that the game.
You know what? Come on, let's be real. I mean, Paige Van Zandt, she's a good looking girl. She's a nice girl. But her talent was never UFC caliber. It was never UFC caliber. I mean, it was almost like Sage Northcutt. Good looking guy, Karate Kid. He's and not take nothing away from Sage Northcutt. He's a real fighter. All right, he's a real fighter. The guy, he's done it to a certain level. But like I said about fighters, in the fight game, there are levels. You know what I mean? Once you get to a certain level, you're gonna have problems with certain guys. I mean, we saw that just this weekend. Paige Van Zandt, on the other hand, she was someone that was marketable. She was someone that we could push. She was someone that could sell tickets. If this good-looking young girl can go out there and win, man, just like Sage Northcutt, if this young good-looking guy can go out and win, no matter what, we're going to push him to the moon. And we're going to push him to the moon to pretty much he derailed himself. Pretty much Sage Northcutt. He derailed himself because he couldn't get past certain guys. The level was just too high. Same thing with Paige Van Zandt. The level has been way much too high for her from the beginning, but they had to give her some fights that she could perhaps win, and she won. All right. That was the key for her to actually start the launch. And she did that very well. But like you say, Michelle Waterson showed that she was nowhere near that same level. And it totally, I was like, I couldn't wait to see if the theory was.
Uh-oh. I think that Booker is frozen on us here for a second, guys. Give me 1 second. Let me add him back in. Book, if you can hear me, jump out and jump back in. But you was talking about Paige Van Zandt.
There
he goes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I was talking about Paige Van Zandt and that little headlock throw. She always had that little headlock throw. It was almost like in the wrestling business, well, we get a guy and headlock takeover.
Yeah.
And the guy, he always knew to go over. And then she tried that same headlock takeover with Michelle Waterson, and it didn't work.
It didn't.
It didn't work at all. And she was like, she started wondering, what the hell's going on? My headlock takeover is not working. And then from that point on, she realized I'm not at the same level as a lot of these other women out here that's doing this. And this fight right here, it seemed like she came into this fight just to finish her contract out. If she won, like she said, if I win, I win. If I lose, I don't lose anything. That's her words. I'm not putting words in her mouth or anything like that. It did not seem like she was coming out there to actually fight.
Yeah, and she lost within maybe 2 minutes of the first round.
Yeah,
tap out, and it wasn't great for her. I think that we have a couple comments here in the comment section. John G wanted to make this comment. I was going to bring it up anyway, but John G said, "Could you see Paige making a transition to pro wrestling?" I know that she was offered a spot at SummerSlam, I believe, a couple years ago. They were going to bring Paige in. I think fresh off Dancing with the Stars, she had a lot of marquee value at that point. They're going to bring her in for a SummerSlam tag match or something like that. It was a rumor I remember reading. Do you think that we see Paige make a transition into pro wrestling? Because Dana White told her, or he said in the post-fight press conference,
get out of here.
She needs to test free agency, which is code for we ain't paying you any more than we are already, so you might as well go try something else.
No, we ain't paying you nothing else after this. After this night, it's over. No, I mean, as far as Paige making a transition into WWE, hey man, preparation is our only luck. And I don't want Paige Van Zandt to think that she can, run into a WWE ring and make some money and not know how to do this. She got to put in some time. She got to put in some work to really learn how to do this. And I'm sitting up here talking to you right now about a lot of the women that we have right now in NXT that's looking to try to come up, that need to learn those intangibles to go out there and know what it means to know how to make it to the next level. And these are women that's been doing this for quite some time. I really don't think, someone like Paige Van Zandt, as talented as she is, could make the transition quick enough to where anyone would take her serious doing this. That's just my opinion. I give Ronda Rousey credit because she was out there trying to learn how to do it before she actually came over. Yeah. People actually, looked at her and praised some of the stuff that she had did on the independent scene before she ever actually jumped into a WWE ring. So she had friends out there on the independent circuit. Paige Van Zandt, I don't know if it's the same with her, if it's something that she loved, or if it's like, Conor McGregor looking for a check. And that's the thing right now. A lot of these MMA fighters, they're going to be looking for a check because that game, is only going to last for so long. You look at guys, like a Mike Perry, for instance. Mike Perry just coming out the biggest, win perhaps of his, MMA career. I wouldn't say the biggest win, but literally a huge win, as far as keeping his career going into a certain trajectory. And then to be in such a bad place to where he got to go out in a bar and punch an old man because he's, out of his mind on alcohol. That goes to show you. That goes to
the N-word.
No. He threw out the N-word a few times. That probably just was in his nature. I'm not holding that against him or anything. But what I'm saying is, you could be in the UFC and you could be winning and you could still be in such a bad place. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be a lot of guys that want to make that transition. You can only do that for so long. You can only get beat up and hit in the face for so long. We're going to talk about Rose Namajunas in a minute. Man, that sport is so hard on the body, and not just the body, the mind. To will yourself to have to go out there and do that to make a living, to pay your bills. It's a monster, baby. Yeah, but hey, man, do we see Paige Van Zandt again in the UFC? I say no. What do you say?
I say very unlikely. I say no. It's more likely she ends up in Bellator or tries her hand at something else.
Yeah. I know we got to take a break here in a minute, man, but Peter Yan, Jose Aldo, man, what a fight. What a brutal, barbaric spectacle. It was something to watch, man. I mean, if you're a fight enthusiast, if you're a fight fan like myself, I loved it. Okay, but it's not something that I would wish on my worst enemy, for him or her to be inside of a cage getting punched in the face. I'm talking about the way this man did. We got to talk about Jose Aldo and what he's given to the game, as well as what's left for Jose Aldo in the game. Guys, stick around. We'll be back in a minute.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, man. We got to talk about it, man. Peter Yan and Jose Aldo. What you thought of the fight, man?
Well, I thought that. Honestly, I thought at first Jose Aldo was looking pretty damn good. I mean, those first two rounds. I mean, second round, he was looking good, except for that part where he's on his back and got hit in the midsection. But I thought that we were seeing a Jose of old. He was aggressive. He was like pushing the action. Leg kicks were back, and I was like, man, this actually. And I think Michael Bisping may have said it on commentary, but I was thinking it too. And we have this conversation every time. Every time I think of Jose Aldo, I think, man, this guy's still doing it at 40, 41, and he's 33.
Yeah, he's only 33 years old.
He's 33.
But his body is like his body is like 40.
Yeah, he's been through so many wars, and I thought that he showed early promise there, but by middle of the third round, you saw where this fight was going, and we know how it ended up.
Yeah, there again, he started out good. He looked good in the first round. Leg kick was there. It wasn't there like it was of old or anything like that.
No,
like the Uriah Faber fight back in the day or anything. But it was glimpses. You seen shadows of Jose Aldo of old. His hands would seem like they were there. The body shot, he kept ripping that body shot, thinking something was going to happen. And that's the thing, man. You get older, you think you still got that pop like you had, once upon a time. But I remember when I was doing the thing at the studio, at Fox Studio, they had the big bag in there, boom, when you hit it, the power would go up, and Anthony Joshua, they come in, boom, 1,000, come
right.
up, little guys coming up in there, 900. But I'm 6'3", 230 pounds. I hit that son of a gun. It went to like 580. I was scared I was going to throw my shoulder out if I hit too hard. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure Jose Aldo, even, as good as he looked, he said this was one of the best fight camps he ever had. He felt healthy coming into this fight. After you've been doing something for so long, and I watched that with these fighters, man, you can actually see them deteriorate right before your very eyes.
Yeah.
As far as the action on the punches, the speed on the punches, the power, if the power is still there. And once you get to a certain point in the fight game, you just start going, over the edge. And I think that's where Jose Aldo is right now. I mean, his gas tank, he can't go past 3 rounds. Peter Yan, if he just would have, stood up for 5 rounds, Jose Aldo would have tapped. Because he would have been so tired by the end of the 5th round, he wouldn't have been able to, compose himself. So I think, when you see guys like Jose Aldo, man, who was great at what they did, and the thing is, I don't think he was before his time or anything like that. I think he was came in, right at the right time to, I wouldn't say pad his record, but fight guys on that level, but not as good as he was. And he, until he ran into Conor McGregor, he was pretty much a guy who was unbeatable inside the UFC. And then that cloak of invincibility, bang, you get hit on the chin one time. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Once you go to sleep one time, all you got to do is go, taste dreamland one time, and you're never the same fighter ever again. And a guy like Jose Aldo, he's proved it because he's got beaten several times after that knockout, as well as he's gone up now in different weight classes and lost. And the thing is, what's left for Jose Aldo? I don't see a path to any championships like he was, trying to pull off in the game for Jose Aldo left. What do you think?
I think that was the last time you ever see Jose Aldo fight for a title in the UFC, especially. First off, you're right. After the Conor knockout, it just continued to go downhill for Jose, and he would bobble up and down. He'd get a good win here, and then I think he's lost now 3 in a row, 4 in a row.
Yeah,
I mean it's definitely not.
I think 3 out of the last 4 or something like that. Yeah,
3 out of the last 4. Yeah, it's definitely not what we thought when we thought Jose Aldo, and the way that fight ended too, Book. We got to talk about that. Just how he knew he was defeated, right? He knew it was over. He knew he didn't have a shot. He was just covered up there waiting for the referee to stop it. And it took the referee forever to stop that fight. Jose probably took, I'm not even lying, maybe 15 to 20 blows more than he needed to because that referee didn't step in and, as you say, have the wherewithal, understanding, and know-how to just stop that fight. Jose was done. He was turtled up. I was so angry watching that.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of talk right now on the social media. Guys like Big John McCarthy coming out talking about how Leon Roberts was the referee's name. Like you say, should have had the wherewithal to stop that fight. Jose Aldo wasn't going to all of a sudden, get a burst of energy and come up and win that fight. He was already well behind. His gas tank was empty. Even if the referee would have said stop, break, get up, they would have found themselves right back in the same position. So I give a lot of fault to Jose Aldo getting his beat as bad as he did, to the referee. The referee should have done something, should have stepped in there and stopped that fight. Jose Aldo, his pride wasn't going to let him, tap. Not being in a tap out position. He just wasn't going to do that. It seemed like the referee would have known. And then, one could say, well, the referee's saying this is a championship bout. This is for the title. I gotta give him, I gotta give him a chance. We can understand that. But
for sure,
like I say, Jose Aldo did not look like he was in any position to want to continue that fight. And Peter Yan wasn't going to let him get in any position once he was in the position that he was in. So the referee definitely is credited to be perhaps one of the worst referees I think in the history of the business that I've ever seen.
Well, it's the worst thing. It's one of the worst. It's just one of those things where you see, and here's the thing, like you said, title fight. Okay, remember when people were talking about the Dominic Cruz Henry Cejudo fight a couple months back? They're like, oh, he stopped it too early. It's a championship match. You got to give the challenger an opportunity to go in there. But for this one, it was such an obvious, hey man, just cut it. Jose doesn't have it. Jose, like you said, he has too much pride. He's not going to roll over and tap out. He wanted the referee to stop that fight, though, and the referee didn't. And Jose took a lot more damage than he needed to. But again, we should not glance over the fact that Peter Yan, what a dominant performance over a featherweight legend and new champion, and he's going to be a problem.
You know what, man? You know what? I can't wait to see someone get in there and mix it up with this guy, because I saw a lot of holes in Peter Yan's game. I give the first couple of rounds to Jose Aldo, actually. Really, I think if Jose Aldo could have kept up the pace, that fight easily could have went the other way. And the thing is, Peter Yan game did not step up until Jose Aldo started, getting tired once his gas tank just pretty much was, almost, empty or close to it. So I think Peter Yan, right now he's on top of the game. But if Triple C was to make a return, I would put my money all over Triple C.
Yeah, I would too. I put it on Cejudo. But it's funny that you bring that up, because it was almost a theme of the night. Is someone starts off really strong in the first and second round, and then in later rounds we see them completely tire out, and it almost goes the other way. We saw in the Namajunas Jessica Andrade fight, where Namajunas dominated those first two rounds, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But you could tell the gas tank was wearing out there in round 3. She was getting tired, and she started feeling a lot more of those punches. All of a sudden, I got a big mouse under my eye. I got a broken nose. Jose Aldo, same thing. He started dropping his hands. He's getting hit more. He was feeling those punches because he started to get tired, even in the Holloway fight. You saw it.
Those guys were talking about, the temperature was great inside the, what do they call it, the bubble.
Yeah, the flash forums.
Yeah, whatever it was. They said the temperature was great and whatnot. But I remember a lot of guys slipping in the fight. And I remember someone talking about the humidity in there as well. So I'm sure fighting on Yaz Island in the desert, no matter if they had air conditioners in there or not, I'm sure it felt totally different than the norm of if they was in Vegas or something like that in the bubble. So I think contributed, some of those guys getting tired. But you got to look at, a fighter like Rose Namajunas. She had a long layoff. It's been a minute since she's been inside the octagon. So to fight someone like Jessica, who of course coming off of a loss, that loss was quick.
Real quick. Was like,
she's still wondering, did I lose that fight? Or, she's still wondering about that with herself. So, but out of sight, out of mind. Time off is your worst enemy. I think it definitely caught up to her at the end of that fight, as well as got to talk about one of the judges actually in the fight actually had Rose Namajunas losing that fight. And that same judge was interjected at the Max Holloway fight as well. So it's crazy, man. We got to talk about the judging system, man. Guys, stick around and we'll be back in a momento.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. We got to talk about this judge, man. Judge Mark Collette actually was instrumental in the Jessica Andrade Rose Namajunas fight. Almost, He almost could have made a difference in that fight. He had Jessica winning that fight. I thought Rose Namajunas won that fight pretty much. I wouldn't say hands down, but I thought she won 2 out of 3 rounds.
That'll win the fight.
And so I mean, we talk about boxing and the how the judges have literally spoiled, man. They have ruined the sport in so many different ways over the years, as far as it being so blatant. One guy won, and then all of a sudden, the guy who lost won the fight. What do you think about, judges that's sitting right there around the octagon, and they see it totally different than the two people that's on the opposite side? What's the deal?
You can never really wrap your head around that. And I know there were a lot of fighters out there and a lot of pundits in the MMA media talking about the 10-9 must system, where someone has to get 10 points, the other one gets 9, unless, you get a 10-8 round perhaps. But the 10-9 must system apparently can cause a lot of these weird instances like we saw on Saturday night, especially with the Volkanovski-Holloway fight. I can never.
But the thing is, it seems like the 10-9 system should, make it so simple. It should simplify everything.
Well, it should simplify everything. And I think the other problem here is a lot of these judges are also boxing judges, right? And they look at different things than they look at in MMA. When you're trained on being a boxing judge, there are certain things that you're going to look for when you're scoring that fight. And if you're going to now I'm an MMA judge too. Well, you bring in 12, 13, 15, 20 different types of disciplines, and maybe you're not as adept to score that. In this one, though, this guy must have been watching the fights, I don't know, not in person. He must have been on an iPad that had no Wi-Fi connection, or there was no feed to his monitor ringside, because to give that fight to Jessica Andrade when Rose clearly won round 1 and 2, and you could even make an argument that she won the 3rd round. I think they threw a similar amount of strikes in the 3rd round. I thought that Jessica Andrade won that one. Still, 2 out of 3, it gives it to her every time. I don't know why this continues to happen, but even Dana White said it after the fight. He said, bad judges tonight. I'm like, don't you pick the judges?
One thing that I've always wondered about is, why do we have bad judges in professional boxing? Like, just say, for instance, Harold Letterman, as his name has always been, relevant in the sport. And then all of a sudden, his daughter, Julie Letterman, was a judge. Okay, she's the judge in boxing. And I say, what the hell gave her qualifications to be a boxing judge? I don't know. My thing is this. When you got so many ex-MMA fighters out there that seem like it's no more than a phone call away, it seemed like they would have people that actually have participated in the sport to actually be able to make those simple calls as far as which guy won that fight or which guy. It seemed like those guys would still, even after all of the wars and battles they've been in, would have the wherewithal to know who won or not. At least, why wouldn't you give something like that kind of a system a try when you got so many bad calls in the sport of MMA and boxing?
I'll do you one better. I think that personally, I think that all referees and judges should be former fighters. That's what I think, because only a fighter can know when.
I would say referees.
I think so. I really do. And I think there's a lot of great referees. I think Herb Dean's a great referee. John McCarthy's a great referee.
Reason I say not referees is because a lot of these boxers and MMA guys, they've been fighting for so long, it's hard for them to move around. You got to be removed. You got to be removed. No, you got to be able to move. When you're a referee, and the thing is, only thing you're not officiating. Only thing you're doing is making sure everything is done right, the right way, So I see referees totally different than I see judges.
Yeah, no, I can hear that. But going back to the judging, I think that they should be guys who have competed before and know what to look for and know how to score a fight. Because if you were listening to the commentary, Bisping had Holloway in the Max Holloway fight with Alexander Volkanovski. He's like, okay, Max has won these 3 rounds. Volkanovski's going to need a stoppage.
Well, the numbers actually show that. They put the numbers on the board.
Yeah.
Before in the first 3 rounds, Max Holloway's numbers were better. In the second 2, of course, Volkanovski's were better. And the thing is, it didn't take a rocket science scientists to know, know that.
But here's the thing. What was the name of the judge who
Mark Collette.
I believe it was Mark Collette who had Volkanovski winning rounds 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah,
I think also one of the judges gave round 5 to Max Holloway and gave like round 2 to Alexander Volkanovski.
So it's all over the board. And
how do you do that?
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So it just makes you wonder, why do we keep getting decisions like this? It seems like it would be an easy fix. I don't know if these guys, I don't know what kind of tests you got to go through to be a judge. What is the procedure to become
it has to be similar to how you become a referee in other sports, or a judge in other sports. Is you got to start on the independents, the circuit, work the small games, work the high school.
Wait a minute. You think Julie Letterman started on the independents?
Julie might have had an inside track. You know what I mean? I don't know, but you agree with me. Max Holloway got robbed.
Yeah, I thought Max Holloway won that fight. Volkanovski, he literally came on strong late.
Yeah.
He started doing things a little bit better in the later rounds, and there again due to the reason that Max Holloway started slowing down. Man, he seemed like, the last 2 rounds, Max Holloway looked like he was just trying to finish the fight. It didn't seem, I wouldn't say trying to finish as for stalling or anything like that, but it didn't seem like he was fighting the way he fought 1 and 2 and parts of 3. You could seem like the engine was, slowing down a little bit. You could see the wear and tear, on the laboring and the punches that he was throwing. So, yeah. But did he win that fight? I thought so. Volkanovski at the end of the fight there, before they announced the decision, you could see it, in his body language that he thought or perhaps knew he had lost that fight. Yeah. And when they announced his name, he was like, "Oh, I got him! I pulled it right." Exactly. And, you can see the disappointment in Max Holloway's face as well. Max definitely rose to the occasion. First round, knockdown, which should have been a 10-8 round. The second round, a knockdown in that round as well. Normally when you get a knockdown, it's normally a 10-8 round. So you can actually see 1 and 2 being a 10-8 round opposed to a 10-9 round. So I really don't understand what the judges were looking at, or a lot of times more importantly, what the judges are looking for.
Yeah. I don't know either. I agree with you. Max dropping him in those first 2 rounds was huge. And then I thought Max won the third one. The third one was close. When I was watching live, I was like, oh, that was pretty close. Yeah. I think Max has that one though. And then the more that you went into it, Volkanovski, like you said, came out strong late, and I think that's what won him the fight in the judge's mind. Is okay, here's the champion. Maybe we can give him round 3. He's definitely won 4 and 5. He looks like he's come on strong. And did Max Holloway? And I don't think this should be in judging, but I think that the judges a lot of times books say, "Well, did he beat the champion?" You know what I mean? Did he definitively beat the champ? Because we saw this earlier this year. John Jones, Dominic Reyes. It's like, I think Dominic Reyes may have won the fight. But I think like, well, did he do enough to beat the champion? And that's why we see some of these bad decisions.
Well, the thing is, you could look at the first fight with Holloway and Volkanovski and say the same thing. Did he do enough to beat the champion in the first fight? A lot of people would say
too. I think he did win that one.
Well, a lot of people would say yeah, but a lot of those same people, a lot of them would say no. So I don't know as far as that fight go. My thing is this: Max Holloway, in my eyes, man, he won that fight. Yeah. He deserved to be the winner of that fight. He fought hard enough to prove, to most of the people that was watching. Now, Dana White even polled the. Everyone in the room is post fight and say, man, how many of you guys thought Holloway won that fight? Everybody say they thought he won the fight. How many people think Volkanovski won? No one raised their hand. So I think the majority saw Holloway win that fight, and I don't think he's going to lose anything from taking a L in that fight right there. Stock's definitely going to take a hit, but
a little bit. Well, people think that you win, including the guy who runs the place.
Well, the thing is, I say Stock's going to take a hit a little bit because he's not going to be immediately get another title shot. Where does he go from here?
Right.
So that's the thing right now. He's definitely up in the air, man. Hey, man, we got a little bit more Hall of Fame for you, man. We got to talk about the main event went down, man. Just like I called it. Stick around. Back in a minute.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. Man, I was just looking at their commercial. Man, I look funny with no beard, man.
You look different. You look different, don't you?
Who's that guy, man?
Well, I think that means you need to shoot a new commercial. I think that's what that means.
It's crazy, man. Hey, man.
Main event fight item. This is what I want to ask you, though. UFC 251 main event. Jorge Masvidal, the BMF, versus Kamaru Usman welterweight championship. This fight was even in 6 days. Dana White said this fight was trending for like Conor Khabib numbers. I think I read somewhere out there that it might have sold at 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. I ask you, Book, did the main event live up to the hype?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because it was a last-minute deal. You know, like I say, you got Jorge Masvidal coming in on 6 days' notice, having to lose 22 pounds. A lot of people wondering, was he going to be able to, do that or not? I was listening to an interview Dustin Poirier was doing. Dustin Poirier said, man, this guy been training. He's in shape. He looks good. He's going to be ready to fight. He never stopped training. So he had been sparring with him. So I don't know. Maybe it was smoke and mirrors as far as Masvidal having to lose 22 pounds. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he had to struggle or anything to do that, even if he did. Did he come to the table with everything blazing as far as every gun in his tool belt? I thought so. I thought Jorge Masvidal was going to come out striking just like we've seen him strike on many occasions. But just like I said, when we put the the predictions out, I wondered, did those fights did the Darren Teals of the world, Ben Askrens of the world, prepare this guy, Nate Diaz of the world coming in off of a year layoff. Did those? Yeah, exactly. Did those fights prepare Jorge Masvidal for what he was getting ready to run into with Kamaru Usman? And I said, man, it's no way those 3 fights could have prepared him for something like this. And the reason I say that is because Kamaru Usman, he's had a hard road to the top. He's had no easy bones thrown to him or anything like that. And he's in the UFC, and he's 11-0 inside the UFC. Yeah. And then I look at Jorge Masvidal. I love Jorge Masvidal, but I look at his record. I look at the guys that he's fought, and I match up all of those guys that he's fought and lost to up against Kamaru Usman, and Kamaru Usman runs through all of them, So that's the way. I mean, it's like it's like a chess match. It's like, watching the horses run, man. You got to know exactly, what you're looking for in order for, to pick the, the right horse, man. They got to have the right sheen on them. And I just did not think, Jorge Masvidal was capable of going out there and winning that fight other than by knockout. And most wrestlers normally, other than a Ben Askren, don't put themselves in position to get knocked out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that this fight played out like a lot of people thought that it might. I wanted to swing for the fences and pick Jorge to win by knockout, but I said it was a head versus heart thing. My heart wanted Jorge to win because I'm a fan. He's made me a fan. He's been on the show. I'm a fan of the guy.
Yeah, I don't pick like that.
No, but I said it was head versus heart. My head was telling me Kamaru Usman would. I think he's just a better technical fighter than most people in the UFC in his weight class. Maybe everybody. That's why he's a champion, right? I think Jorge came out. Obviously, he said, look, I got a limited gas tank. I don't feel as great. Even though he went 25 minutes, he was like, I know I'm going to be fresher up front. Let me try to swing for it as quickly as I can. Jorge probably won that first round, and he landed some good shots. But Kamaru from then on was like, I'm going to pin you up against the cage. You're not going to be able to move your hands. I'm going to hit you with these Conor McGregor-esque shoulder thrusts. I'm going to hit you with some shots to the ribs and the body, and I'm going to step on your feet till it annoys the holy hell out of you and everybody else watching. But I'm going to get this win by pointing you up, because Jorge Masvidal hasn't been finished in 11 years. So I think Kamaru, especially being a wrestler, knew I'm not going to finish this guy the same way I finished a Colby Covington. If I try to stay in the square with Jorge Masvidal, it's not going to work out probably well for me. So I need to do what I have to do to win this fight. He did it. Was it the most entertaining thing that I've ever seen in my life? No, it wasn't. To be honest with you, Book, I was bored with a lot of the fight. I think Kamaru was great technician. He's the most dominant fighter at 170. I don't think there's anybody who can beat him. I don't know if he's a box office draw as much as some other guys in his weight class and in the UFC, but I don't see anybody beating Kamaru Usman anytime soon.
Hey, man, as long as he's winning, that's the only thing that counts. As long as he's winning. The way I saw it was, of course, Jorge Masvidal was going to come out there and, work in spurts. A lot of times Jorge Masvidal, he's got like a blast, of energy, but what I was listening to him in the post-fight, Masvidal said, man, every time I start getting off and start getting a little bit of something going, he would shut me down every time, by grabbing me and putting me against the fence or taking me down. And that would just zap the energy right out of me. And saying that because I don't think that his gas tank was suspect, Jorge Masvidal. I don't think his gas tank was suspect by far, by any means. I think Kamaru Usman zapped that gas out of that gas tank throughout 5 rounds. And just like Jorge Masvidal said, I wasn't about to get knocked out. I wasn't going nowhere like Colby Covington did. He said, I was going to be in this thing. I don't care how long the fight went. So that told me that, he was cognizant. That told me that he knew exactly where he was every minute within that fight. So, but the better man, being Kamaru Usman, the better mat technician, it proved that how good of a striker Jorge Masvidal really is. Because in a stand-up, man, Kamaru Usman would have got beat up so bad in a stand-up with Jorge Masvidal. It seemed like it was night against day as far as that goes. But it goes to show you how good Kamaru Usman is able to adapt and willing to change his game, change game plans, because for a minute it seemed like he was ready to stand up, and then he started getting two-pieced, and he said, let me rethink this thing.
That's right.
And thinking totally. Yeah.
But again, I think that Kamaru was phenomenal in what he did. Right? Does it lend itself to great excitement? No, but he was great in what he did. He got the dub. He's the champion. Do you think that Jorge Masvidal, because you and I kind of talked about it last week, do you think that his stock goes all the way down? Or do you think this is what I think about it? Hey, it doesn't mean he's not a great fighter still. It just means he's not better than Kamaru Usman, but he can still be better than a lot of guys at 170 and find himself back in a similar position, getting a great box office fight. Like, I think him and Colby would do good box office. I think him and a couple other guys would do good box office. Do you think that his stock has gone way down with this loss, or do you think he comes out okay?
It's kind of up in the air, really. I really think it's up in the air because it's according to who they match him up against next, and if he wins or if he loses. If Jorge Masvidal can go out and lose 2 in a row after becoming the BMF is not going to mean a whole lot at all. The weight that championship has, people are going to look at it like, come on, what I mean? Anybody could have won that, so if Jorge Masvidal don't go out and win his next fight, I really think he could take a huge hit as far as what's next for him. Then again, you wonder, if he just say, for instance, if he lost his next fight, you go, well, what path do Jorge Masvidal have, to the welterweight championship when he can't beat this guy, or if he can't beat that guy. So it's going to be people talking about Kobe Covington, and Jorge Masvidal. And Jorge Masvidal blatantly said, "I don't want to fight that guy." So that's the guy that I think he should fight. As far as a matchup go, as far as it's instant heat right there, as far as it's some money to be made right there too. He's just signed that 10-fight deal. So the thing is, he's gonna have to fight somebody because that check. I don't know how much money did they announce how much money he made.
They haven't said it yet, but the rumors out there is probably about $600,000 for as far as guarantee. I don't know if you got a piece of the pay-per-view.
Well, he made some money off of him, but I'm gonna tell you right now, that's gonna last about 12 calendar months. And he gonna have to get back up out there and get ready to go to work. But man, congratulations to Kamaru Usman, man, for going out there and defending the welterweight championship and steel, just like I said it was gonna be, and steel. Congratulations to Volkanovski as well. I mean, I ain't gonna hate on him, Peter Yan as well, for going out there and defending, actually becoming champion.
Yeah.
So congratulations to all those guys. But hey, man, I can't wait to this weekend. We got some more stuff coming up this weekend. So
yeah, more fights Wednesday and
as well as Wednesday, guys. Ariel Helwani going to be stepping inside the Hall of Fame, guys. So make sure y'all tune in and see exactly what the brother got to say. Hey, guys, Bradley, again, I appreciate you. All the listeners, man, we appreciate you guys. But right now, we'll see y'all on Wednesday because we out of here.